because I didn't start. Says I'm going here. I don't know if this is working or not. If anyone sees this, please say something. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to use a program called OBS. Um, and oh, I see Squirrel Bait said working on Timmy. What's Timmy? Tim? Sarasota Tim? I hope not. Say something. I'm talking. Can you hear me or can you not hear me? Uh-oh, that's not a good sign if you can't hear me. Hi, everyone. How do I get this to work? Which one is it? I don't think it's this one. Uh-oh, what did I do? I'm trying to talk. I hope I'm talking. This ain't one, I don't think. Right. I see a lot of people. Oh, please let me get this working. Maybe I gotta go here. Bear with me, guys. I'm trying. That work? I think I just did something. Oh, so Z-Car hears me loud and clear. Yes. Yay. I got it working. All right. I'm getting there. Again, this is a program called OBS. And it's a little difficult to get chatting on here. And I didn't know I was live. I was just playing with it, trying to figure it out. And I guess I accidentally went live. But hi, Beav. Hi, everyone. So what's going on in the community? I haven't seen anything at all from Sarasota Tim. Not one, nothing. So I hope he's all right. I don't know if it was Z-Car or if it was someone had said, oh, no, it was Dinger had said, hopefully he didn't eat those burgers and get sick because they looked kind of raw in the middle of them. Yeah. I'm reading these. Beaver saying hi. Beaver was first, of course, as always. He's got like a notification somehow that he's on the ball, man. And Squirrel Bait's on here. Can't stay long. Sorry. Keep making a video. I want to watch it. So, saw the red dot and clicked on. Let's see, Beaver. I'll be on the lookout always for upcoming videos. Yes, of course. I'm hoping it's as funny as normal. Squirrel's always got some good funny ones. Oh, that's what she was saying. She was saying she was working on Timmy's. I gotcha. I'll get better at this. This is just, it was really meant to be just a test. It should sound good, loud and clear. Z-Car, it's working. Yes, yes. Great audio and video. Accents can be good. Casanova Timmy. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Yes. Yeah, I got the chat to work. Chat's a little bit more complicated on OBS. I need to come up with a line though where I can click on it maybe and it'll come across the front. But I'll get there. It's all an experiment. Sarasota Tim just uploaded an evening chat. Huh. I could pull it up and watch it with y'all, but I don't think that's right. I kind of think if you're gonna watch the video, you should probably watch it on his. I don't want to take anyone's. I don't make money on this, and he does. I think let him. I don't want to play that game. But I'm glad I got the chat working. I'm glad you guys showed up. I'm not done. I'm just learning. So, I really was hoping Carl was going to do a live tonight. And I thought if he did a live, I would have stuff set up I could jump jump behind him. Squirrel says, you could ask Carl if he is still somewhat new with with live streams. So Carl's using a streaming service. I can't think of the name of the Streamlab. No, not Streamlabs. He's using something else. This is like I can do a lot of things with this. I just got to learn it. This is not. This is free software. Mike's taking place of the Late Show. Yeah, I'm a night owl. I don't want to be though, but shift work really makes you do a lot of nighttime. I never know when to sleep. I get about 4 hours of sleep, then I'm wide awake, and then it's hard. And yes, I'll start wearing gloves with my motorcycle. Sorry about that. No, I don't think it's what is the software called? It might be Streamlabs, maybe. No, let me. I'll bring up a web browser. That's pretty cool. I got it working though. I'm happy. Let me see. Hey, did anyone buy any Mega Million tickets tonight? It's up to like what, 300 million? I got a couple. Let's see. I think it's StreamYard that he uses. Yeah, it's StreamYard that Sarasota or not Sarasota boy, he would kill me for saying that. Carl's using Streamlabs, I believe. Accidentally called him Sarasota. That's horrible. Them's fighting's words. Yeah, I love the bike. The 360 camera on it. So there's a lot of things you got to do. You turn one thing on, turn the other thing on. You got to make sure you're in this mode. Or man, I'm getting older. I forget some stuff. I did just recently buy these microphones. They're pretty cool. They're the Mic 2s, and they look like this. But you can put your, let me see, where's the camera? Here it is, up here. You can put your code on it. And what happens is when you put that on there, if someone scans it, it'll take them to YouTube. These are, the mics just sit on you. And what I'm going to do is, this is magnetic. Oh, I gotta make sure I see this camera. This is magnetic. So it'll go inside the voice and sit up here. I was using a DJI Mic 2 with Bluetooth connection, but these will connect directly to the 360 camera, and they'll also do 32-bit float internal, so I can sync it up later. Yeah, I'm more of a geek. I love all this kind of stuff. I have more fun learning about the stuff than I actually do broadcasting or making the videos. Yeah. One of these days, Ecar, I'm going to try to come down your way. I definitely want to go do the ride in the dragon. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I have a friend in Florida that wants me to meet him down in Jacksonville in October, and then we're supposed to drive down to the Keys and stay there. And there's going to be 6 or 8 of us on different bikes and going down there. But I told him, I said, it's 700 miles for me to drive to Jacksonville. So I think that's going to take me at least 2 days. And when I get there, I'm going to want to rest some. I'm not going to want to just get and go. But I'll try it. The bike itself is a little big for me, so my feet don't totally hit the ground, and I'm a little unstable stopping and starting. I've got to overcome that. But once you get on the road, once you're riding, it's fantastic. And the adaptive cruise control, let's say you set it for 70 or whatever, you come up on a car and it slows right up to that speed and will follow, and you can set the distance that you want to follow a car or whatever. And it'll alert you if something's aside of you on either side. the technology on that bike is amazing. Um, but yeah, anyone still here? Did everyone get off here? I don't see no comments here. Anyone want anything I need to talk about? Are y'all watching Tim? I don't see no one. I wonder if it died. Hmm. Let's see. I got stats here. No, it says I'm connected. Um, yeah, that's all working. That's kind of cool. So apparently I can also like I can switch between like I made a be right back screen. This pop-up is not working, I don't think. That's what it is. Ah, I see. Nah, it just wasn't scrolling. Ah, see, it's easy to make mistakes. All right, so I see Z-Car lived in Virginia Beach from 90 to 92. Oh yeah, so you were I remember you saying you were in the Navy. Interesting gadget. It's the it's the 360 Mic Pro. It just came out recently. And I live near Ray. But I live on the other side of the Bay Bridge Tunnel. So I live up towards a island called Chincoteague. And yeah, it would be a great trip to go to the Keys. Um, yeah, so I'm not built normal. I'm kind of built kind of strange. So I'm 5'10", but my legs are only 30-inch inseams. So I've got short legs and a taller upper torso. And it really it's difficult. Like when I was a kid going to proms and that, the tusk when they tried to fit you for a tusk, yeah. Anyway, I can't speak. They try to fit you. I was always like an odd shape. Navy corpsman. So other motorcycles that I've had, wow, I've had quite a few. I had a Yamaha Phaser at one time. Years before that, I had a an XT 550, and it was a Yamaha. It was an on-off bike, similar to what Sarasota has now, but it was this was years ago. The problem with those bikes that are on-offs like that is I had friends that had dirt bikes, and I thought because I was in the military at the time, I was stationed up at Loring, Maine, and in way up north of Maine. But I thought I could drive that bike down to Massachusetts to be with my friends and then do the dirt bike riding. But because it was an on-off, you get driving on the highway and you go above 50 or above 60, 65, it would rattle a little bit. So it wasn't great on the road. And then when I finally get down there to go in the dirt with my friends, the bike was too heavy to be in the dirt because it was like the worst of both worlds instead of the best. Um, Reminds me of the days of the stereos when we used to have individual components for the stereos because you wanted the best. If you bought something that had all the components in them, you never got the best stuff. But anyway, I had the XT 550. I had a Yamaha Phaser at one time. It was an 800, I think. I don't remember the size. Then I bought a VMAX. I've had about 2 or 3 VMAXs in my time. I used to love the VMAXs until when they started getting too much like a big bullet. They didn't have much maneuvering. The last bike I bought before this one was a Ducati Divel. It was a carbon Divel, and it's a beautiful bike. I still have it. I had a couple issues with it because I had someone kind of steal it, and anyway, it was it was someone I knew, so I didn't kind of press charges on him, but he did some damage to it or whatever. It's kind of disappointing. Um, yeah, I live in between the Atlantic Ocean and the um, bay, the Chesapeake Bay. I'm about 5 miles from the Chesapeake Bay where there's a dock. So I mean, I can walk right out. Well, not even 5 miles. Maybe it's 2 miles, but I can walk to the Chesapeake Bay side. The ocean side is probably 20 miles. The peninsula here is very narrow. So you can be on either side. Yeah, look up. You're gonna laugh at the name of the town. It's Onancock. It's Onancock. And I'm gonna say something here. No one, please get mad at me, but my sister always gives me heck on this. She says I live on a cock. And I'm sorry. I know that's a horrible thing, but she teases me about that all the time. But it's Onancock. That's the town I live in, and the dock is right down the road. It's beautiful here. It's quiet. If you were young and you lived here, you'd probably be a little, um, you may not like it so much because there's not a whole lot to do. But I like the peace and quiet, the slow traffic. And if I want to go have fun or go do stuff, I'd rather travel somewhere and do that and come back home. C-car. A lot of accidents happen without any other vehicles involved from older people purchasing motorcycles. Yes, that's very true. In fact, I shouldn't tell you this because I want to keep it kind of quiet, but a couple days ago, just practicing kind of turning in a parking lot, um, I tipped over, and luckily I didn't get hurt. But 600-pound motorcycle is a little hard to pick up. But I did tip it over once already, just on a slow turn. So other bikes, you maneuver the clutch in and out when you're turning slow. Well, this one doesn't have a clutch, so you've got to use the rear brake to drag, what they call rear brake dragging. Um, so yeah, they are dangerous, and you hurt yourself more than. And sometimes you got to watch yourself. If someone pulls out or in front of you and you turn just a little, you got to watch how you brake, because if you're leaned over and you stop, you're gonna go down. So I live in a town called Onancock. It's Onancock, and it's in Virginia. Look it up on the map. You'll see. It's a small little town. It's a beautiful town, but it's a small little town. And we all drop them sometimes. It does happen, unfortunately. Yes. Yes. A little embarrassing. I think I hurt my pride more than anything. I'm not telling anyone about it though. So don't tell anyone. I will keep it quiet. I always worry about the other person. This is Beaver saying, I always worry about the other person and not my skills. Yeah, as a bike rider for years, um, even when I'm driving my truck or a car, I'm looking out, and I always predict this guy's going to pull out here. This one's going to do that. I'm always looking everywhere. Um, but the scary part is if you're turning or that's it. That's it, squirrel. Yep, that's exactly where I live. Um, if they pull out in front of you and you react, you have to be ready to kind of stop. And when things happen quickly like that, you can easily lose balance and drop. My other bikes, I have never had that problem with. But this bike is, like I say, it's heavy. And, once you get to a certain point, you're not going to hold the bike up. Um, but yeah, what other questions you guys have? So I'm 60 years old, retired Air Force. Now I work for NOAA. I work on antennas and radar, or not radar, transmitters. I need a map. Google Map. Google Maps. Well, I kind of use oh boy. I can't even think of the software I use now when I grab my phone. I'm actually using my phone for Wi-Fi. The map I use on my bike is Waze. I always use Waze. Yeah, if you look at the picture, you can actually see my house, but don't laugh. My pool's a mess. So my swimming pool, the liner broke. Um, and it was an above ground pool, but I tore out the liner, and just in the if you look at it now, there's stuff already growing up underneath, and it's driving me nuts. I got to pull all that stuff out. I bought all the equipment not the equipment. I bought all the stuff to put in the new liner. I just need some days off of work so I can do it. Google Maps is great. Google Maps is good. You get the 3D buildings and all that stuff. It's I like Google Maps, but most of the time on the bike I use the Waze because you can find out where there's accidents or anything that's coming up. Like Google, I think bought out Waze, so they're using that data as well. Squirrelbait said I was in a community in the army, transmitting, receiving radios, antennas, phones, secure units. That's pretty awesome. Love it. Yeah, I did a little bit with like secure voice when I was in the Air Force. HF radios, our UHF, VHF radios. Mostly navigation systems though, like radar and VOR, TACAN, IFF. IFF was a like identification friend or foe. It was a way that our stuff could look at other people, like whatever, and determine that was a friendly something or other, and not shoot it. You guys got interesting stories. Yeah, I think all of us, everybody that does stuff has interesting stories. The hardest part is to get people to listen. It's easy to tell a story. It's hard to actually sometimes listen to people tell stories. So, I don't know if that came out right or not. I am not the best at this. This is a whole new. This I was not prepared for it. I don't have any notes in front of me. Squirrel bait. I had to troubleshoot them when not working. I had a security ID because of some sensitive comms working on. Oh yeah. Yeah. So I had a secret clearance. Because like I say, secure voice was a code that you had to put in. You had to kick the mic, the KYKs that you put into the unit, and it would upload a code, and then they would use what they call frequency hopping, and it would, you have all these different frequencies, and the voice would go pop, 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 pop to all these frequencies, and because they were synced, yeah. All right, let's see. This is C-Car. Mike, how and when did you find Sarasota Tim or the community? Ooh, that's interesting. I really don't know. I think it was years ago when he was just in the camper or the trailer staying at Jolene and whatever his name's, that staying there. Really, when I started this, when I was really getting into this, was I was getting ready to retire from what I'm doing now, and I was talking Social Security or thinking about Social Security and when to claim and when to do all this stuff. And so I started out doing that. And I would watch different shows. I'm really into like the moon, the sun, the stars. So I watch all kinds of stuff, weather stuff included. Yeah. Is that the same though? Yeah, yeah. That's who I work for, is NOAA. Anytime you watch anything on the weather and they have satellite images, like GOES 19 is our West Coast bird. It watches all our East Coast bird. It watches all the East Coast, and GOES 18 is on the West Coast, so it watches all there. So we can see from the edge of Africa all the way through to Hawaii, and everything in between. We have other satellites too. We have a couple that we put over in Australia, and we set up a site there that we can. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk too much about that, but so they can actually see stuff in the Indian Ocean, and that's a good way that the DoD can plan stuff with stuff that goes on over in the areas over there where stuff is. But I don't want to talk about that too much. But yeah, to get back to squirrel bait, I did a lot of troubleshooting of radios and back then we used a lot of like inline watt meters, And so let's say a UHF radio put out maybe 10 watts, you can only have like 1 watt or less than 1 watt really reflected on that, so, you could tell if maybe an antenna had some water in it and was bad, or most of the time, if you had problems, it was connectors that either someone didn't make right or got corroded, and you just had to replace the connector and put it back on. Sometimes it would cause the transmitter to burn up. You'd have to replace the transmitter. Uh, to get back to on the Finding Sarasota Tim. I think it was by mistake. I think I was just looking at channels, and I know a lot of people don't like Sarasota Tim, and I don't. How am I going to say this? I don't like no. I don't like no. I don't like not liking people. So I kind of try to find the good in everyone. And the one thing I'll say about Sarasota Tim, he's like a car. Well, he was a kind of a car salesman. He's good at communication. He may lie, he may cheat and steal like a car salesman. I'm surprised he's not a politician, but he knows how to speak. Even though he's not highly educated, he can talk to people. And that's that, So sometimes you watch him and you find yourself interested in what he's actually saying. Even though sometimes you go, what? That's not right. And then when you start checking on him, you're like, oh, okay. I see. I'm old school Sarasota Tim. Yeah. Yeah. I think in the older times when he was in there, being the minimalist that he claims he is, um, I think he was a different person. Uh, Although still, I don't want to knock him too much, but I think in them days he was still with Tammy, and I think Tammy was married to, so I don't know what was going on there. Again, I don't really none of my business, but yeah. But I did like the older Tim better than the new one. Man, I saw that picture of his hand when he was what was it? What was he doing? He was doing something and he reached out. Man, someone said Wolfman. I was like, oh my, wow. If he's gonna shave his face, and he should start shaving his hands too. I've never seen that much hair on someone's hands. But anyway, sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Um, so one of these times, maybe we'll do a chat like this, and I can send out a link, and we can have multiple people, because I can arrange these. I can arrange this so that it's a different way, and I can probably bring someone in. It would be good to hear other people's stories, not just mine. Yeah, I did see. Beaver says age and sun don't mix. When I was younger, I loved being out at the beach. I loved playing volleyball. I had jet skis, and I loved going out in jet skis. Um, but now, if I go out in the sun, I don't like being out there too long. And sometimes I wear a hat to cover my head because I don't have much hair left. I have hair, but it's thinning. Um, that wasn't a hair joke, Z-Car. I'm just saying, Um, but I cover myself with sunscreen, and man, I tell you, the sun is not your friend. And he looks like leather. But he grew up loving sun, so that's him. Um, I think when you're in your 60s and 70s, you've lived your life to a certain point, and it's hard to change who you are. There's a lot of things that I do, and I'm like, someone will say, well, "Why'd you do?" That's just the way I am, Like Z-Car making his morning breakfast every day the same exact way. They're like, "Well, why don't you change things up?" Well, I don't want to change things up because I like it that way. There's certain things I do. You could tan back then. Today I burn, peel, no tan. Yeah, I don't know. I've not tried to tan. I don't know. I would think I could, but I just don't feel comfortable in the sun anymore like I used to. No, I can do it for a little while, but not a whole lot. Timmy is burnt red. He doesn't really tan. You can you can only it's like that thing, that unit he's got that he's cooking on now, 1,500 degrees or whatever. Uh, I think something like that would be great for like a pizza oven or something. I never heard of a thing that puts out 1,500 degrees. Like even when you do a like broil a steak in your oven, when you turn the broiler on, it does both, but it heats everything up and it holds it. This thing here has the oven, the door. There's no oven door on it. I don't understand. So he's putting all this heat on the top and it burns it, and then he flips it over and it burns the other side, and nothing in the middle gets cooked. I don't know. I do not understand that thing. A squirrel bait. As long as I've been watching him and always getting in the sun, he never tans, just red like a lobster. I don't think he, yeah, I don't, I can't explain him. You know, I don't want to say he's like that brother. He's not a brother. Um, yeah, I don't know how to explain him. I do know this. I, it seems like sometimes you end up trying to defend him, and I'm like, no, I don't want to defend him because you can't. He does that. Yeah. Having said that, wow. What's going on in the community? Has he put up someone said he did, didn't he? He did an evening chat, right, tonight? I'll probably watch that after we do this. Or I could do like a New York Dan. I could go on here and do and have AI analyze it for me and tell you what he said. He has spent his entire life in the sun. He's done irreparable damage to his body. Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't had any kind of cancer. I ended up with a melanoma on my back, and it was stage 3, just about stage 4. When a friend of mine, she noticed it, and she said there was something like I thought it was a pimple, to be honest, and it was bleeding. So I went to the hospital. I made an appointment, went to see. When they had to dig it out, and it was the size of a golf ball when it come out. But it had already spread to my lymph nodes. So they had to cut my lymph nodes out from my left side here, or right side. And yeah, maybe another month or two, and it would have been stage 4, because it was getting ready to go from the lymph nodes out, and I probably wouldn't be here today. So I got very lucky on that. Melanoma is no joke. That was about 12 years ago. Mike, not sure you know, but I've met and spent time with him. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about him. I don't think he's a horrible person, but I think he's made some poor choices. And I think he cares more about himself than anyone else. One of my faults is I sometimes care about people I don't even know. I care about people more than I care about myself. So I make poor choices too, but I'm the one that gets the shit on end, where I think he's always the one doing the shitting stuff. Sorry, that's just my opinion on. Again, I'm not used to these lives, so I'm really trying to behave as much as I can. I just I just looked at my face here. That's a scary thought. I need to move this camera maybe not that way, this way. There we go. It's a little bit better. So I got to come up with a better setup too. Like I said, I'd like to put something on the bottom of the screen here, maybe. I don't know. Oh, and I got my Patriots lanyard on. I didn't realize they had that. So does anyone have any questions for me? Anything? So yeah, I was in the military. I've been all over the place. I was stationed in a place called Mather, California. It's up by Sacramento for a couple of years. I went from there to Loring Air Force Base, Maine. That's like if you go all the way up to Caribou, very north. It's way up there. After Maine, I got a short tour to Iceland. I was in Keflavik, Iceland for 1 year remote. And then I got a follow on assignment from there to Hawaii. And I lived in Hawaii for almost 9 years. I loved Hawaii. Hawaii, I went to Charleston Air Force Base, South Carolina for training on a C-17 when the C-17s first came out. Learned all about them. I was there for almost 3 months in South Carolina, and I fell in love with South Carolina. Um, what is the town there? Not Myrtle Beach, with wow, my brain goes blank every once in a while. But that town is the nicest. I think it's probably the best place in the United States. Charleston, South Carolina. The people are friendly. The food it's a beautiful place down there. So I kind of fell in love with that. When I went back to Hawaii, I told everyone I want to get orders to Charleston. So because I figured I was qualified and all this stuff, I put in for Charleston, and the Air Force said, "Boy, Charleston, that's close to Pope Air Force Base, North Carolina. We'll send you there." So I had to work on 130s, C-130s at Pope. And man, we went everywhere. We were in Iraq, we were in Iran, we were in all the stands. You name the stand, we were there. Afghanistan, Uzbekistan. We, yeah, I, I spent more time in an airplane flying around when I got to Pope than I ever did in my whole career. So then after Pope, that's where I retired from. I got a civilian job down in Georgia, working at the Marine Logistics Base in Georgia. And then a couple months after I got there, unfortunately for them, but fortunate for me, I found this job here at Wallops Island, Virginia, and that's where I've been ever since. That's my life. It's time to end now. Sometimes you just go on and on and on. It's so hard to talk without having someone to talk to. You're just looking at a camera. Interesting career. Yeah, it was. I mean, I really miss the military. There's a lot of good people in the military, and it becomes like a second family to you. Um, and you like everything else in the world, there's good people and bad people. And you just learn how to deal with them. So here I'm a supervisor now, and I supervise a lot of different people. And it's the same thing. You try to put the people that work for you in positions to um to succeed. So, this person may be doing terrible in whatever they're doing, but maybe that's not their skill set, and you move them somewhere else and they do a lot better. And by being able to move people around because most people don't want to screw up. Most people, they really are trying to do right. I mean, I think honestly, Tim, it tries to do right. He just ain't capable of it. Luz Cannon is from Charleston. Charleston is so beautiful. Car, are you going to stay where you live now? I don't know. There's times I think about moving down to Florida, or even Georgia, or even Alabama, because it's a little bit cheaper. Um, but I've got a house here, and like I said, I like the people. It's a quiet thing. I think my whole plan is really when I retire. Well, one, I may end up. Um, I say I retire, but I may retire from the federal service, and I may work as a contractor. There's a lot of jobs that need to be done that, I mean, like I know inside and out that site in Australia. And if they wanted to pay me to go out there to do maintenance on it, I would probably do that. What I don't want to do is I don't want to, like, right now I work about 110 hours every 2 weeks. So about 50 to 60 hours a week. And the shift work, and it's all getting to me. I kind of want some time off to do things and enjoy my life. Because we don't know. Carl Bush just passing away. We don't know when it's going to end. So I feel like I'm in fairly good shape. I mean, I'm definitely not running no marathons. My knees hurt and do whatever, but I'm still doing stuff. I would love to go see the pyramids. I think that's something neat. I want to enjoy my life. What about you, Z-Car? Are you going to go down to Florida? I know you're in Georgia now, right? No, you're Tennessee, not Tennessee. Is it Tennessee? Yeah, they are. We do 12-hour shifts. So like, we work 7 to 7, but even though it's 7 to 7, I get into work at about 6:20, and I get off at about like 6:30 the either night or day, whatever opposite of that. Beaver, most people are good-hearted. News outlets only report the bad. It's unfortunate, but the bad stuff sells. And people, for whatever reason, they're drawn to drama. Um, and I think as we get older, we kind of get tired of it. But um, Seagar is in North Georgia. Yeah, Georgia's not that far from here. Squirrel bait. I always wanted to see the pyramids. Man, the pyramids are so interesting. I don't laugh at me, but there's no way the Egyptians built the pyramids. I mean, I'm not knocking them. I just think this is my theory, and laugh all you want, but I think I think there was another civilization of humans 12,000 years ago before the ice age. And whatever happened, whether it was the meteorites or whether it was like a sun micronova or something happened that wiped out that civilization. But not everyone died, and the people that survived eventually, regrew civilization or regrew mankind up. But in the meantime, a lot of the knowledge from them went away because those blocks are huge. How could, yeah, anyway, I'd have to have my notes. I'd have to have some notes to talk about pyramids, but there's a lot of stuff involved with all them. It's just neat. I find it very, very, very interesting. Z-Car, that is tough hours for yes, for 60-year-old. Yeah. 61 now. Yeah. Drama does sell. Man fears time as time fears the man fears time as time fears the pyramids. Beaver, Ancient Aliens show is interesting about old landmarks. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a great show to watch. I love watching Ancient Aliens. Um, there's a guy on YouTube. What is his name? Ben Davison. He does stuff about the sun, and the pole shifting. So I don't know if anyone follows this, but the magnetic poles are actually shifting right now. They always have moved a little bit, but in the recent years, they've really started driving. So the South Pole is looks like it's heading towards South America, and the Northern Pole is going towards I think it's the Indian Ocean. Um, so and that's why they have to keep changing the um like the if you look at an airport, it'll have its runway markers. Well, those markers are actually the north and south line for on a compass. Well, they have to move them all the time because the actual magnetic north and south poles are shifting. Let's see. Beaver, something was here before something. Yeah, I mean, and maybe it wasn't us, but something. I agree. Yeah. Squirrel bait. They made the obsoletes too. Yeah, yeah, you're right. And there's a lot of things that are very interesting. One of the things that bothers me is uh, Zakawi, is that his name? Or there's a guy that's like the head of the Egyptian, whatever it is there. They won't let they won't let archaeologists and people really discover what's going on. They kind of block a lot of that. And it's all about money. I hate to say that, but it's always about money. C-Car, you can always make more money, but we can't make more time. 100% agree with that statement. But I wouldn't mind hitting that lottery tonight. That would make me retire a little earlier. 330 million, at least you get what, maybe half of that. Or 300 million, half of that's 150. Even if it's 100 million, I could retire at $100 million. I'd have no problem. We'll have our own little party somewhere. maybe we'll all go down to Charleston, South Carolina, and have a drink or two. How's that? What else y'all want to talk about? Is how long has this been going on? I'm not even watching the time. I need one of them hourglasses that I gotta talk to Carl and see what he's done, where he got one of them from. Tell me, what's everyone's opinion? If I started doing lives, would y'all? Is it worth doing the lives? Do you like that? Could I get a following on lives or um? Because I enjoy this. I just need to have some kind of topic to talk about. I'll bring up more stuff about the pyramids and stuff. I'll get more facts. I hate to just talk without knowing the facts because I sometimes get things a little distorted. Beaver, I got more time but less money. Yeah, I understand that one. Squirrel bait. Egypt has a new $1 billion historic museum. I saw a tour of it on YouTube. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, there's a lot that's over there but there's something they just found here in the U.S. I have to look it up again. There was something that they just saw in the U.S. that dates back a long time, like way past what they thought that oh, the guys that they thought they came across the landmark going through Alaska and coming down. Clover, Clovis. I think it's Clovis, but they found something that outdated that. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. I'm like I said, I'm a big thinker that something was before us, whether it was humans or whatever else it was, but there was something else here that did some of these things, and a lot of the remnants that people, you know, other people found it and they built on top of it or tried to recreate it. 45 minutes. Wow. That's pretty cool. Seacar Beaver, I'm with you. Yeah. More time and less money. Yeah. 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 I don't, I don't really need a lot of money. I just to do stuff to do, but I'm not, I don't need steaks and lobsters and whatever. I can eat peanut butter jelly sandwiches and be happy. I've done a great job. Thank you, Zikar. Either I'm on board with the live. Okay, cool, cool. I want to get a better. I'll work on some stuff. I'll be a little bit more creative with some stuff. Zikar, yes, Beaver. I think it's hard to comprehend time in history. It is. It is. So I saw some episode where they were talking about oh, what's the closest star to us? Um, but it's like four light years away, which sounds pretty close. Yeah, I'm single. I have a story about that, but I am single. Yeah. um, so four light years away sounds pretty close, but it's really not. Alpha Centauri, and Alpha Centauri actually is 3 stars. I didn't know this before, but there's 2 binary stars and a red dwarf star that's right next to it. Um, all right. I speak well and the audio is great on my iPad. I don't speak the best there, Z Carson. I think you're a little fibbing, but I'm trying. I'm trying. I have a slur or something in my voice, and sometimes I don't speak right. I say a lot of ums and uhs and yeah. I so I used to be an instructor in the military as well. When I was stationed at Pope, I was an instructor and in charge of instructors. But there used to be distractors that we talked about, and saying you could once you focus on that the person's no longer listening to what you're teaching them. They're just like and it's a distractor. Same when you if you when we used to have dry erase boards and chalkboards or whatever. When you erased it, you were never supposed to turn your back to your students, and you're supposed to go up and down and not sideways, because if you went sideways, you kind of so many weird things. But one of the lessons I learned as a teacher, like if you're going to, and it could work for YouTube, I don't know, but um, they used to tell us to tell the students what you're going to tell them. Then you tell them it, and then you tell them again what you told them. So you do it 3 times. You give them a little. This is what we're going to talk about today. Then you talk about it, and then you end it with, "This is what we talked about." And every lesson was kind of like that. We all deal with the ums. Yeah, that is very true. If you could put a Y in front of that, I would like it better. I'd like to deal with the ums. Do you watch Neil deGrasse Tyson? I think I butchered his name. It's all right. I knew who you're talking about. Um, I don't, I don't really watch him. I don't really see too much with him on it. I don't not watch him, if that makes any sense. I just haven't seen a lot. I mean, I see him on different shows every once in a while. Um, yeah, one of my favorite shows, if we talk about shows, was I don't know. See, I drop blanks, man. Sometimes my brain just goes cook and it's gone. Um, Big Bang Theory, man, I love that show, and I know they're all geeks and it's all set up and whatever, but man, I love that show. That I laugh. I can watch reruns of that, and fall asleep watching a rerun. But the weird thing is, over the last maybe 2 years, maybe yeah, probably 2 years, I watch more YouTube than I watch anything else. And sometimes I'll fall asleep and it'll autoplay other channels. So people are making a lot of um I'm getting a lot of getting out a lot of watch hours, even though I'm snoozing during them. Squirrel Bait, I have to go. Been working on a video. Y'all have a great Memorial Day weekend. You too, Squirrel Bait, and God bless the men and women who have died for the country. This this uh, this weekend is really about giving recognition to the people who sacrificed, the greatest sacrifice. See you later, Squirrel Bait. Thank you for supporting, and we'll see you next time. Right? Please. How many people is there here? 3, 4. I love it. It's awesome. I think it's probably time to go to. It's been almost an hour. Um, I'm gonna work on these screens though, because I think so. I made a be right back screen. I don't know what that does. I think it's gonna kill my audio. Like I can click on this. If hopefully I don't disappear. I mean, I'll disappear, but hopefully my audio still works. When I do this, I'm back. So hopefully all that. But I was working on those things. I didn't finish. It kind of surprised me when I saw you were talking. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? I didn't know people were on. What Sarasota Tim or hater channels do you watch? Watch Dinger. Um, I like Dinger. I like Carl. I don't like calling hater channels. Because I don't think there's any. I don't know. I don't. I really. I'm almost with Miss Vicky on this one. You know, we ought to start focusing on. It's okay to pick on people, and if you want to pick on me, I got a very thick skin. You can pick on me about anything. It really won't bother me. Um, I think I think you could pick on like Tim or whoever. It doesn't really matter. But I think you can pick on people without hating, right? Um, but yeah, so I follow I do follow Tim. New York Dan. I get a kick out of New York Dan. A little different, but um he's I'd like to hear his story. I'd like to know where he gets his money from. Not as a day trader. I think he probably dabbles in day trading. But I'd like to know a little bit about New York Dan. I'm not. I don't think he's a bad dude. Um, I'd like to meet you, Z Car. I like to meet Squirrel Bait, Beaver. What Beaver? What's your story? What are you? You know, are you old, young? What have you done in your life? I think you did say something a little while ago. So when I was younger, that was one thing I always tried to focus on. When someone talks to you, remember their name, remember. But as I've gotten older, my memory is not as good as it once was. Z-Car, Sarasota Tim began calling the them those that disagreed with him haters. Yeah, and I get that. Because there's been a couple times I've commented on his channel and yeah, but I try to be proactive and nice and not um but I yeah, Beaver poke fun, just know how far to take it without harm. Don't cross the line with hate. I agree 100% Beaver, 100% with that. And I think Z-Car too does. And you know what? I think Carl does too. I kind of several times people have said something about Carl and I'm like, I don't think it's that way. I don't think he really, but I mean, I don't know everything about the guy, but I believe he's not a a hate channel. Um, I support him. Um, I don't know if I want to talk too much about life and vibe. You know, I don't know. If I could sit down and talk to her without this and it would be interesting to know who she is or what but every time I ever try to watch her, I feel like it's always hatred towards Tim and you know, that'll that'll blacken your heart and so I kind of avoid that. I really honestly do. Um so I don't want to talk anything bad about her. I just it's hard. Zcar, I don't promote personal attacks on him. I call out a lot. He says, I agree. He did something on Social Security one time, and it was just wrong. I made a video about that because there are people that would listen to him and believe like that's the right word, and it's not. Um, yeah. Beaver is 55. Basically, was a supervisor of the third party warehouse inventory and recycling facilities. Nothing exciting. Everything is exciting. You know, a friend of mine lives with me, Shannon. She recycles everything. When I first was living in the house, I would always take the trash because I was trying to save money. I would take the trash to the dump myself and put it. Then after a while, I was like, you know what? I've got two things full of every week I'm taking. I said I'm going to start having them pick it up, and I'll just pay the service because I think it's like $12 a week or $20 a week or whatever it is. So I had them picking up the trash for me. Well, all of a sudden, her and her kids and that they want to recycle stuff. So now there's only one trash can full of trash that the pickup place picks up that I pay for. Now I'm taking two big containers every week to the recyclable place. And I'm like, somehow this didn't work out right for Mike. Zcar said, interesting. Beaver said, Zcar, thumbs up. Zcar, yes, Mike. Unfortunately, most recycling is a scam. Yeah. So a lot of times I kid Shannon and I tell her, I said, yeah, I took that to the dump. I mean, to the recyclable. And she's like, you did not. I said, no, I would never do that. But we all have different backgrounds and it's interesting the more about each other online. I think that's what's wrong with the world today is we don't talk enough. Everyone texts, you go to go to a bar, and half the time you see people in the bar on their phones. You've got 100 people all around you. Why are you on the phone? Talk to your neighbor, talk to your friends. Um, I don't understand people today. We're so involved in social media. It's kind of, I hate to say this, but it's kind of like us. We're all talking here. Um, you know, but at least we're talking. That's a good thing. Well, we all have different backgrounds, all interesting about each other online. It's all about money. Recycling, yeah, I think recycling is all about money. Well, everything. The world is all about money. You know, what do you think of this war with Iran? Do you think it's gonna end here soon, or do you think we're in a lot of trouble? I feel like it's gonna end. I think, and I don't want to get into politics, but I think um, the rest of the world is gonna someone is gonna come up with some kind of solution for this, because we're not the only ones kind of suffering. I think the whole world is really suffering because the oil's not leaving the strait. So China, um, there's a lot of countries that have reasons to talk to Iran to say you got to come up with something. You know, hopefully it's done here soon. You know, what else you want to know? I think it's maybe it's time. We'll call it quits here in 5 minutes, and I'll do this again. I promise I'll do this again, but I'll try to set some stuff up. Maybe I'll have some articles I can pop up, and we can have. Maybe I'll do like 5 different topics, and we can all discuss the topics. Um, I know maybe I'll try to schedule these different days or something like that. But all right. Um, so I think I've only got a couple of people here. It's only Beaver and Zcar, right? It's just you two. I don't know of anyone else that's on. It was great. Thank you so much for showing support and coming on and letting me talk and blah 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 in my mouth. But all about money. War drags on it and it makes money. Yeah, I think they're losing money on this war actually, but there's stuff going on for sure. Bring notes if needed. I do need notes, lots of notes. Great live tonight, Mike. I also look forward to more of your videos that you post. Yeah, I look forward to more bike rides. Um, but I'm so if I when I do the bike stuff, I think I'm going to try to tell a story. I don't think I'm going to drive, you know, 30 miles and all and I may record it all, but I may not show it all. I may only do little spurts here and there. Because I don't think anyone wants to watch 30 minutes of me driving a motorcycle. But these trips will have little shorts in it and stuff. So anyway, I keep talking forever, and I don't want to do that. To hear more about your stories of places that you've been in the military. I've done some interesting things. I'll ask me about. Yeah, I've been to Morocco. I was in an operation called Operation Giant Squid, where we worked with the Navy. We had B-52, and we shot a harpoon missile off of a B-52 to sink a submarine. And where were we at? We were in not Oman. It was where's Morocco? I should know the name of the place, but that's where we were flying out of. And that was a lot of fun. Anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about tonight. Thank you all for being here. You two all for being here. We'll do this again. So thanks, guys. We'll see y'all later. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. The weather's not the best. Hopefully it warms up a little bit. Mike, watch our Harley riding videos if you get a chance. I will, Zcar. I did watch. I didn't go back. I'll have to go back into the past ones and watch. I will definitely do that. All right, everyone. See you later. See you next time. Thanks. Good night.